I'm Sarah Seeley, the Senior Program Coordinator for the Office of Interdisciplinary Programs. On behalf of our office and the Interprofessional Educators and Practitioners Association, I want to thank you for your willingness to help with the facilitation of All Professions Day 2. Let's begin the training by reviewing a few of the facilitator tips provided by the IEPA Curriculum Committee. A few things to keep in mind when facilitating in a virtual environment. First, research shows that facilitating groups in an active way, including calling on participants to share, is key to increasing engagement and effectiveness. Give students an early heads up that they will be invited to share during the breakout. This can help students stay attentive throughout the session and ready to participate. Next, we recommend using round-robin responses to encourage and allow everyone time to speak. This helps to ensure everyone's voice and perspective is valued in the discussion. Third, it's important to give students a few extra seconds to answer when teaching online. It can take longer for participants to digest and respond to information over video, and there may be technical delays to contend with. So use the few extra seconds as an opportunity to pause before asking a follow-up question or calling on a volunteer. Finally, remember to mute your microphone or limit background noise when not speaking. This helps to prevent feedback and make sure that the discussion can be heard by others in the group. These tips, along with a few others, are available on page 4 of the Facilitator Guide as needed for review. We'll now move on to the format for APD2. The session will begin as a large group where your Zoom host will play the first video from our MC. After that first video, we'll move to small breakout rooms where each facilitator will lead a group of students from multiple disciplines through activities and discussion. Once in the breakout room, you will stay there with your student group for all activities. The Zoom host will broadcast the remaining activity videos directly into your breakout room. You have been emailed a copy of the Facilitator's Guide to use in your session, and it will be available via OneDrive. The OneDrive link is also included in your calendar invite and will be shared in the chat at the beginning of each session. Your Zoom hosts, either Margaret Robinson, Christina Stelmack, Rama Osman, or myself, will manage the videos, breakout sessions, and troubleshooting as needed. Please note, the students in your breakout group may vary slightly over the course of the session due to possible connectivity issues. If this happens, there's no need to make a note, as attendance will be taken by Zoom hosts throughout the session. For the agenda, the session will begin with a video exploring the remaining 2 IPEC competencies of values and ethics and teams and teamwork. This video will also introduce the navigating ethics activity. We'll then move to breakout rooms to meet our teams and navigate an ethical dilemma in preparation for considerations in our case. While still in the breakout rooms, video 2 will introduce the case and students will meet John and his partner Gary. After viewing the case video, we'll discuss care considerations for John. Video 3 will then introduce students to the quadruple aim and a brief lesson on resiliency in health professions. After the video, students will complete the Scale of Protective Factors assessment and discuss resiliency and mindfulness practices. You will then return to the main session where we'll wrap up our day with a final video from our MC and a link to the JTOG evaluation. Please note we will stay on schedule and should conclude within 2 hours. Now, let's walk through what to expect with each activity. The first activity is navigating an ethical dilemma. Once in the breakout room, you will have 5 minutes for members of the team to introduce themselves before beginning this activity. After introductions, each facilitator will screen share the activity slides. The slides can be found in the Activity 1 folder of the OneDrive and the zip folder attached to your calendar invite. The slides will direct students on a choose-your-own-adventure style scenario. This is what the slides will look like. Begin the activity by asking the students to take a few minutes to review the Ethical Principles PDF found in the Activity 1 folder of the OneDrive for their own discipline. After the review, advance to the next slide, where the scenario is introduced. Together, teams will have to work on making decisions on how to interact with Omar, given the ethical implications. As a facilitator, you will navigate the slides provided based on the team's decisions, but it is up to the team to initiate discussion and hear from each team member to make a decision. For example, if your students choose Path B, you'll click on the check mark under Path B. This will move you to the Path B outcomes. After discussing the outcomes, select the check mark to move to the additional discussion questions. If time allows, you can select the check mark on this slide to return to the original fork to explore the other path. You will have 15 minutes for this part of the activity. The second activity is the case study discussion. In the breakout room, work through the guided discussion questions on page 20 of your facilitator guide. A copy of the case and discussion questions will also be available for the students to access in the APD2 folder of the OneDrive. After 25 minutes, your host will then share the next video. The final activity will be on resiliency and mindfulness. After watching the video, students will be given 5 minutes to complete the Scale of Protective Factors SPF12 assessment document. After the assessment has been completed, each facilitator will use the questions found on page 23 of your facilitator guide to lead the discussion. You will have 15 minutes for this portion. After 15 minutes, we will begin the mindfulness activity. Your Zoom host will share a 5-minute gratitude meditation video into your breakout room. Once the video is completed, you will have an additional 10 minutes for discussion and reflection. There are a few more questions found on page 23 of your facilitator's guide to help lead this discussion. Once back in the main session, we will share the final video and everyone will be asked to complete the JTOG assessment. JTOG stands for the Jefferson Team Observation Guide. This is a national evaluation used to measure behavior in teams. As part of the evaluation plan for the Office of Interdisciplinary Programs, JTOG will be completed after every IPE event, including simulations and clinic. It is important that both students and facilitators complete the assessment. The link to JTOG can be found at the end of your facilitator's guide, in the chat at the end of session, or via QR code during the final video. And that concludes the breakdown of our facilitator instructions for the virtual APD2 activities. This academic year has been our largest student group yet, with over 1,400 students enrolled. We genuinely could not do this without your support. Your participation is invaluable, so thank you again for your willingness to assist in interprofessional education activities on our campus. We'll see you again on Friday, February 23rd.